I'm not ready, but are you ready? Hello and welcome to the Pharmacy Seeds Network live stream. We do the amateur radio Farmers and Gardeners Net every week at 9:30 p.m. Farmers and Gardeners Net is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club and then transmitted live here on the Pharmacy Seeds Network YouTube channel. We talk about farming, gardening, and all sorts of topics related to that. Give everybody a chance to come in, make sure the stream is good. Looks like we have good stream quality. Let me check my audio quick. This is kind of a last minute get it together sort of thing. Just trying to get all sorts of chores done here on the farm, but managed to get a lot of it done, not all of it. I'll have to go back out and do some more afterward. But here we are. And it's 9:30, so we're going to go ahead and start the net. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. The Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net is an amateur radio net sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club located in Ulster County, New York, and dedicated to farming, gardening, and the like, and sustainable food systems. Without further ado, we're going to go right ahead and start the net. If there are any check-ins, please call now. Hello, everybody.
Good evening, CJ. K2LD here.
The net recognizes K2LD. And are you in transit tonight, Bob? And how are you?
Doing well, thank you. I am in transit, and I just figured I'd poke in and say hi. I don't know how much longer I'll be here for. Maybe another 5 miles, 6 miles worth. But just figured I'd say hello.
Hey, Homestead in the Highway. Hey, Monkey. Hey, Geeky Gardens. Hey, Country Homestead Preacher. All right. Well, very good. How are things growing up there? Did you finally get some basil growing up there with the warmer temps we've had?
Yep. Suddenly the switch got turned on. Everything's cranking up there. Everything is going really good. I planted some garlic in the spring. I tried to do some summer garlic. Everything has nice big scapes on it, which I just cut off. Everything is growing well. It really is. I had put some lettuce in. I think that's actually getting cancerous. It's growing so fast right now. Parsley's doing good. Basil's doing good. Tomatoes have flowers, but no actual fruit yet. Fig tree's still doing fine. I have one set outside on the deck, and one is still inside in the house. And the one inside is actually doing better than the one outside. Go ahead.
Interesting. I have some ginger I put directly in the ground here, and also some that I kept in the greenhouse, and the stuff in the greenhouse is rocking along as well. Maybe the figs like those more stable, warmer temps or something. Anyway, glad to hear things are growing well for you. Things are growing really well here too. I do have some green tomatoes just starting to develop here on the Romas, the first set of Romas. And let's see, we got a few tiny green tomatoes starting on the beefsteaks, but mostly we're just frame building, flowering, and growing in size at a phenomenal rate. Everything else is growing pretty well here also, and yeah, things really changed when the temperatures finally warmed up. Like you said, the switch flipped. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. Now I'll put it back to you because it sounds like you're starting to reach the edge of the fringe.
I'm getting to the fringe, no two ways about it. Yeah, when I first put that fig tree out on the deck when it was a little bit cooler, I think it actually thought it was going into fall and started dropping leaves. And now it's doing good, but the leaves that it started curling up on are not doing well. Those have turned pretty much like a white look to it and are dropping. But the rest of the plant is doing fine. So I don't know, maybe it's just confused. I have no idea. The one inside is just steadily chugging along. I'm loaded with figs on 2 sides of it. So that one's doing well. The one outside has no figs. So I think I might just keep them inside for next year. It just seems better that way, more stable.
Yeah, it sounds like that might be the thing to do, or at least keep them inside until the season warms up and stays a little more stable. But glad to hear things are growing well. That's fantastic, and I'm glad you're starting to get figs. That's awesome. I still have yet to get my my butt online or off to somewhere to pick up a fig tree. Maybe I'll get some cuttings from Dave again in the fall, and or maybe in the spring next year and give another try. But glad all is well, and thanks for checking in. I'm going to go ahead and provide another opportunity for check-ins. But before I do that, I'm going to put it back to you, just so we don't lose you before you get outside the fringe.
I think I'm going to be toast at this point. I'll try listening out from here on in, but good chatting with you, good catching up, and catch you him soon. K2OD will be on the side.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for checking into the net, Bob. Appreciate it, and glad things are growing well for you. I wish you a safe trip, rest of your trip home, and we'll talk to you soon, I hope. All right, this is KD2IIN, Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now.
This is
KD2RFI.
KD2RFI.
The net recognizes KD2RFI. How are you tonight, Bob?
Good evening, TJ. How are you? I'm doing well. Just sitting out here, and actually getting ready to turn in for the evening when you kicked off the net, and I saw your live stream kicking up. I said, let me jump out for a little bit before I call it quits for the day. So, but no, things are going pretty good around here.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Have you checked in on any of your hives to see if they're stacking honey yet?
No, not yet. I'm actually thinking about that today. On the way home, I was pulling in the driveway, looked over at them. They're situated right next to my driveway, and they are, several hives are bearded like crazy. So I know they're packed right tight. So I definitely got to get in there, pull any surplus honey off of them, and replace them with some empty frames. And I'll probably have an early season draw. Probably get a gallon or two out of that, maybe a little more, I'm guessing. But I pretty much do that every year. I'll take a little bit off to make room for the bees and the queen to lay some more eggs and whatnot, keep the hives healthy. But yeah, they are bearded pretty bad. I've been very busy lately, chasing the bears away. I think it was Sunday morning.
Glad I don't have that problem.
Dogs woke me up. Actually, they alerted on me tonight, so I know the bear's close by somewhere. They sit out here in my truck and just, talking. I know they're floating around, but my dogs are getting very anxious. But Sunday morning, they woke me up about 5:15 in the morning, and I look out the window, and, I'm assuming it's a big male. He's all by himself. He's the biggest one I've seen. Was right below my window. So the dogs were getting all excited over him being out there. I kind of let him do his thing, and I left some empty frames on the barrel outside of the bee yard. Bee yard's protected by electric fence. And this was sitting outside of that. And he started nosing around that, so I yelled at him to leave it alone, and totally ignored me, like I wasn't even there. So I came outside and stood outside the front door and yelled at him again. By this point, I'm probably 15 yards, 20 yards away from him. And he just kind of looked at me, took a couple steps away, and again ignored me. So I raised my hands up and screamed at him, and the SOB grunted at me like I was annoying him, like I was bothering him, which, rightfully so. He was here first, probably. But, no, it was pretty funny. Pretty funny. So he eventually just wandered off, but wasn't really too concerned with me being there. He was more or less bothered that I was annoying him. So that was pretty interesting. So pretty much that's how the bear season's been going this year. I've identified a total of 3 different bear coming through.
Wow.
And a couple of them I had they're big bears. I had to go side by side with photographs to make sure they were definitely different ones. Make sure mine wasn't playing tricks on me. But yeah, that's pretty much it with me. Back to you.
So he was annoyed that you were trying to take his shopping cart in the grocery store, huh? Yeah, I'm glad I don't have a bear problem like that. That would be freaky to go out in the yard and have to worry about that. I so far haven't seen any close around me here. Although neighbors, my friend Matt has seen them in his area, and I know he's reported to me a couple of people nearby him that have seen them as well. So I know they're around. But anyway, fantastic, and yeah, all my hives are cranking. The one middle hive is just bearded day and night and rocking. I mean, it's like you go out there in the daytime on a day like today, and it's just, there's bees coming in and out of there in every direction, all different flight paths. So I got to get in there and pop the covers off of that and have a look and see if they pulled that foundation out, if they're filling some honey in those supers for me now. I figure sometime here in the next couple days I should get on that. But glad to hear everything is going well there. Let me just see if there's any further check-ins here. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. This is ham radio, not CD.
QAK.
The net recognizes KD2 QAK. How are you tonight, Bob? You're Bob number 3 tonight.
I figured because it was Bob's night, I'd go ahead and give you a shout here. Things are a little quiet on the digital bands. 10 meters, 20 meters and 40 meters are deader than a doornail. I just had a QSL and lost them after about one exchange. But anyway, that's about what I'm doing. I can't tell you much about gardening except my wife had me get the sod knife and edge all the gardens around the yard this week. So that doesn't really mean that anything's growing or not growing, but that's what we're doing around here in the gardening department. At least I am. What she's doing is her business. Back to you.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, there's always lots of maintenance to do in a garden. I've been having several rounds of it with weeding and trying to get mulch back down. I meant to get mulch down earlier in the season on a lot of these beds and just didn't get back to it between plantings and feedings and irrigating and all the other things I had going on. And I'm paying for it now because I got to go back and weed those beds. And so I went out and mowed a bunch of mulch last night and raked it this afternoon. So hopefully I can suppress those for the rest of the season, because there's nothing more frustrating than having to go back and do things you know you could have prevented.
Yeah, well, close to gardening, maybe on the nature side of things. My wife and I took a walk, I guess it was Sunday afternoon, and we were walking up the blacktop path in Abrams Park, and we spotted a couple of cedar waxwings. Haven't seen any of those around here. I don't know if I've ever seen them around here. I've seen them in other parts of the country. Back to you.
Cedar waxwings, those are moths, if I remember correctly, right?
Say that again.
I was thinking that those were moths, but I guess there's a birds. That's cool. I don't know if I'm familiar with them. Pulling up an image on Google here. Oh, I have seen those. I didn't know they were cedar waxwings, but they're a beautiful bird. Awesome.
Yeah, they have kind of a reddish brown top. They have a crest on the top of their head, and they have a yellow band across the base, across the end of the tail. That's probably the distinctive mark on them that we could identify them. Back to you.
Gotcha. Yeah, and a little tuft off the back of the head, which is kind of cool looking. Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that, and glad you joined us. Let's see if there's any further check-ins here quick, and then we'll roll back to the top of the list, which is KD2 RFI. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. No further check-ins recognized at this time. Let's roll back up to KD2 RFI. Pick it up.
Okay, KD2 RFI. Hey, yeah, so, pretty much that's all I've been having around here, pretty much. The bear have been pretty steady coming through, which is nice. I haven't really seen them in a couple of years. They kind of, I wasn't sure if they moved out of the area or what was going on, but evidently there's enough food source in the area, whether it be garbage cans or natural food source, I'm not sure, that they're wandering back around.
is that BT, or Bacillus thuringiensis, works on those guys, and that is usable for certified organic and that sort of thing. That's basically just a soil-borne bacteria, but on the plants it has a toxic effect on the webworms and many other species of insects and that sort of thing. So that might be a good alternative. Sounds like you have to hit it again. Please do follow up and find out what the stuff you're using is, because we're going to need to know that as we go forward, as we put foliar feeds and try to build nutrition and health of those plants. We're going to want to know what toxic pesticides and negative effects there are residing in the soil. So something to keep in mind. Hopefully it's nothing too crazy. Another one that might work on those guys, double check it on the label, or ask, before you get it, is it's called Captain Jack's spinosad, or Captain Jack's dead bug, or something like that, which is a bacterium that was isolated from an area near a rum distillery in the Caribbean, actually. And that's super toxic to all sorts of insects and not humans. So that might be another alternative to look into for future attacks. I had a few of those guys in my apple tree this year, but there were so few that I just broke the branches off and crushed them, stomped them out on the ground, and I don't seem to have too many more of them. There were a good number of them last year, and I know other people had problems with them last year as well. So I don't know if maybe their population is growing, or they're moving into the area, or what. I don't remember having those in years back, so interesting.
Hey, Kitty2R5. Yeah, no, last year my one tree turned completely brown. It killed all the leaves on it, so I was afraid I was going to actually lose the tree. I think that was the silkworms, or the zinc caterpillars, whatever you want to refer to them as. I think it might have been something else. I don't remember seeing the tents last year at all. But yeah, anyway, if you want to roll it right back to QAK, and I'll just step off the side quick. I'll go grab the product, take a look, and see exactly what it is I put on them. And then I'll be back and let you know.
All right, sounds good, Bob. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. And we're going to roll on down to KD2 QAK, and then we'll provide one more opportunity for check-ins. So, Bob, pick it up.
All right, well, I don't really have much to say about gardening tonight. I will say I saw your parents, let's see, it was Friday night over in the town of Clinton at the concert by the library, by the Clinton Library. Had a nice conversation with him. I see your dad usually every Sunday morning when he's in church. Anyway, back to you.
Ah, very good. So they were out dancing Saturday, huh?
Aside from that, I can tell you stories all night, but they're not going to be related to gardening anyway. So I've been working on digital quite a bit here, and I did make a contact in Germany, little town in the center of Germany. That guy's name was Gerhard. And I got one from El Salvador this afternoon. Very quick, came back to me, good signal. I just had a guy who's trying to contact that I answered a CQ from Illinois someplace, and we had about 2 exchanges, and I lost the signal. So the bands are really down tonight. Back to you.
Ah, interesting. Germany, that's good. I don't think I've made any contacts in Germany yet. And El Salvador I have, and that's awesome too. So glad the digital modes are going well for you. All right, let's provide another opportunity for check-ins here. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. If there are any final check-ins for the net, please call now.
K2JLB Mobile.
And the net recognizes K2JLV Mobile. How are you tonight, Dave?
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you recognized me or recognized somebody else.
I recognized you and requested a status report on your happiness, health, and condition. a long couple days for me as well. Excuse me. We'll go ahead with your question.
Alrighty, well, I have a feeling that I have some ground squirrel activity in my little 20 by 20 plot. Something ate the top out of the tomato plant that you gave me, although they didn't touch the other one, so that's all right. Anyways, was wondering if I should can that particular plant and replant, or will it grow back? The rest of the stem is pretty healthy, has, I'd say, 2 or 3 branches still on it with good green leaves, but the top is gone.
It should grow back okay. Yeah, they're in trying to graze on my stuff too. I've been chasing them out, and I gotta get back and finish getting that electric fence patched up, fixed up, and back online. Yeah, you know, some free Sunday in the middle of the week. Yeah, I think it should be okay unless they chewed it right down square to the ground. If there's a couple of leaves on it, it should come back, and it should have a pretty solid root base by now, so it should grow back faster than you might expect. Yeah, that's the thing I find. That's the one downside of the foliar feeds and addressing trace mineral nutrition and getting soil health up. All the animals that you normally compete with to stop them from eating your plants, suddenly the pressure really increases because they recognize that nutritional value, and boy, they go right for it. They'll select a plant like that over any normal plant any day of the week. And it becomes really obvious just what the gains are health-wise.
Yeah, very good. It's probably still 18 to 24 inches. Well, 18 anyways, inches tall. And yeah, it's definitely whatever was in there selected that plant over everything else that was there, including rosemary, basil, the kale that's in there. I think I've got about 8 or 10 plants in there. And it also did not have a cage on it as yet, which I have now remedied, so it's possible it was just too easy to get to. So, alright, I'll let her go and see how she does. I'll probably throw water on it tomorrow to spend a few days, and we'll see how it does. K2JLB, back to that.
All right, very good. Yeah, it should be okay, and keep it watered and loved, and keep it fed. Over here, things are growing like crazy. We'll have to get you over one of these days soon, and have a look at things here. And also the antenna area. Well, I mowed and mulched out of there, so it's all cleaned up that way. And then that storm dropped one of those big maples, so that spot where you park is occupied with a large maple. But other than that, the antenna area is open and clear, so if you want to do some antenna testing, that is available again, and much easier access. You won't have to wade through any tall grass or anything.
Very good. Well, with the tree that we rolled an antenna out over top of on field day, I think I can handle a maple. All right, cool. Yeah, good to know that all the poison ivy is down. K2J will be back to net.
All right, very good. This is KD2 and Control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net. We're going to go back through the list one more time here. KD2 RFI, are you back, and did you find out what you were spraying?
Yeah, KD2 RFI. Yeah, I went and grabbed the product. It's called just simple, a complete fruit tree spray. It has 11.76% captain, CAPTAN. I believe that's what you would refer to. That's the primary active ingredient. And of course, it goes on related derivatives of 0.25% and 6% of malisoline, I believe it's called. So it does list the 10 caterpillars, 10 style caterpillars on there too. So I don't know. It's mixed at a rate of 1.5 to 2.5 tablespoons per gallon. It's a concentrate. So, and I followed the directions when I mixed it and applied it with a sprayer. Is that the same stuff you were referring to?
fact, I believe Captain, I believe that's the same stuff that they use to coat like the hybrid corn seeds, and I believe that's a fungicide. The malathion, I think, or malathion, or however you pronounce that, I believe that is toxic to insects, as well as humans, plants, animals, etc. Obviously, concentration has a factor in that. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'll have to look into those two substances a little more. I'm not super familiar with either one, but yeah, I would try and find an alternative to that that isn't so toxic. But I do understand you don't want to lose your tree, so I understand the practical aspect as well.
Yeah, affirmative. That was kind of the whole reason I just kind of blindly grabbed something was I didn't want the trees in the same condition they were last year. And like I said, last year they were completely browned out. So I'm hoping to prevent that this year, but it seems like it wasn't really effective. So I don't know.
Which is double negative.
I think I'll just, if you don't mind, looking into that stuff, I'll wait to hear from you before I do another application or proceed with something else. And if you could just shoot me a text. I think you still got my number or email. I think we exchanged. I can't remember.
Yep.
I definitely appreciate it. And just let me know which direction I should head.
All right, very good. Well, I will try and look into that later on or tomorrow when I get a chance. And yeah, I think I know I have your email, so I will shoot you an email when I figure out what's what with that. But very good. Thanks for sharing the information, and thanks for joining the net. And we're going to roll on down to KD2QAK. Pick it up, Bob.
Yeah, very interesting conversations tonight, but I think I'm going to turn to a pumpkin here pretty soon because it's getting to be my bedtime. So I'm going to say 7C to you all, and we'll look for you the next time. I might pick up part of the net Thursday night. We got to get down to the Dutchess County Federation of Fish and Game Clubs meeting in Millbrook. So if I catch you in the car on the way back, I will. KD2 QAK 73. Good night.
All right, very good, Bob. Thanks for joining the net. Thanks for checking in. Glad you enjoyed the conversation, and hope you have a good rest of the week and make lots of contacts, digital or otherwise. 7-3s. All right, we'll roll on down to K2JLV. Pick it up, Dave.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you very much for running the net. And good evening to everyone who was there. Nice to hear you out there. I would just like to echo your recommendation of the Captain Jack's dead bug spray. That and pretty much any of the other products that
Organic.
produced by that same Bonide company. I believe all of them are organic certified,
No.
and they are very good at killing, or at least thwarting infestation. So definitely worth a look at that. Anyways, I don't know if the dead bug does tent caterpillars, but it has been very.
Or otherwise. What was I going to say? Something else about that. Oh, yeah. Of course, the real way to beat these insects, all of them, and all pests and disease in plants, is to increase photosynthesis. You can do that through foliar feeds most effectively. So something to keep in mind for those of you who are interested in advancing your plant health and your health for the food that you eat from those plants, and also improving disease and pest resistance without chemicals. So something to consider, and we can talk about that more on another Thursday night net. I think we're going to go ahead and close the net out since it's about 10 o'clock, and I got a bunch more things I got to do tonight, and I got to finish this live stream as well. So thank you to everyone who participated in the net. This is KD2IIN, net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners net, and I'll go ahead and do the closeout here in a sec. Alright, this is KD2IIN, net control for the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners net. This has been a session of the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners net, offered to the radio community each Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. We also have another net on Thursday nights. That's at 8 p.m. every Thursday, except the third Thursday of the month, where we have our meetings. For more information about our meetings, please visit our website, and also about our nets and about anything else in our club. Visit our website at www.omarkclub.org. That's whiskey, 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 Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Thanks to all those who participated. This is KD2 IIN 73, and inviting you to join us again next week. The net is officially closed. This repeater is back under general amateur use.
KD2 IIN, this is KD2 RFI, wishing you and everyone else 7-3, and again, thank you very much for hosting the net here every Tuesday night. I do appreciate it. One of these days, I should bring out a notepad and start writing down these things that you tell me instead of trying to remember, but I am going to go in and check out that Captain Jackson. I am very appreciative of the net you run. Thank you. Have a good night. 7-3.
Thank you, Bob. And as you know, no nets are any fun unless people show up. So thanks for participating, and thanks for all your great information about bees and all. Always enjoy having you along for the net, and hope you have a good evening. And I'll try and get some information back to you the next day or so on those pesticides. So 7-3s, and have a good evening. This is KD2 IIN. Yeah, pretty good showing for sure, Geeky. How's everyone tonight on the live stream? KD2 IIN is here. Let's see, I answered the question about its ham. Sounds like everybody's gardens are growing good. Homesteading the hard way, glad you guys finally got some rain. We did too. We got about 3.5 or 4 inches on Saturday. Also lost a bunch of big trees. I got some cleanup still to do from that. Kind of a pain in the butt. But many blessings as far as those trees. We had lots of trees come down in lots of different spots on the property, and they missed everything of value, including my old place that still has all my equipment and computers and a bunch of my tools in it. This one tree that I've been concerned about falling on that place when I lived over there, the top of it snapped out and came down on the rest of the building. And fortunately it didn't do as much damage as I would have expected for such a large treetop. I did get some video of that. I will be uploading that at some point. I've been meaning to get out and get some more video, and I just haven't had the time. Yeah, things are rocking. So you guys got rain too, huh? Good, Geeky Garden. Glad to hear it. Country Preacher, you got 50 pounds of tomatoes canned so far. 30 jars. Nice. Nice. We haven't reached canning season yet, and I don't know if I'll get to can any. Hey, Robin. But I would like to make a batch of salsa this year if I can, but I don't know if I'll get to that either. I also bought cumin seed and started cumin in the garden, but then weeds are quite out of control in that section, and I'm considering just wiping and replanting, and I don't think cumin has enough time to finish there. So I might do some in a planter or a pot, and then be able to bring it into the greenhouse to finish, but that is always such a pain in the butt. Anyway, things are growing well here also. I have an update to do for that as well. But I've just been trying to play catch up on weeds and mulching and foliar feeds, and then I was irrigating pretty heavily and all that before the rain, and yeah. Yes, I'm in New York. I'm about 90 miles north of New York City and about 50 miles south of Albany, and about 30 miles from the Connecticut-Massachusetts border. About 5 miles from the Hudson River. And where are you, good country homestead preacher? I forget where you are. How's things growing for you, Robin? Life gets in the way of gardening. That's why I gave up working. Well, in this case, gardening just gets in the way of gardening, which gets in the way of filming gardening because I'm busy gardening. Alabama, okay. Oh yeah, so you guys are way ahead of us on the season. We are finally getting some nice hot weather, good sun, and things were getting really dry on us until Saturday, and then we got that 3.5 or 4 inches of rain. That made a huge difference. Not going to be in the garden for a while. What happened, Robin? You didn't hurt yourself or something, did you? Tell me you're alright. So yeah, Schenectady is about 50 miles north of me, right near Albany. I'm south of Albany a bit, but yeah, it's about an hour drive from here. You know someone in Schenectady, or did you grow up there? Took MG or fall in the garden today? You fell? That's not good. What did you hurt? What did you injure? Oh, you spent 2 weeks preaching there. Yes, it is a lovely area. Especially where I'm at is actually really nice. We're out away from the city far enough for the most part here. It's a very beautiful area. Thank God homesteading the hard way. I was panicking. Glad you're back. Everything? Knees, arms, back? Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Robin. Man. That's something I always try to be really careful about out there. But I gotta tell you, last night, I went ass over tea kettle. I was trying to water some plants, and I went to step in a spot that I thought was just weeds, but I had buckets and planters and pots in there still from spring, and I tripped over them, and I went over backwards, and I must have rolled about 6 or 8 times so I wouldn't break my butt. Distracted by a blueberry pound cake. Where's ours, HTHW? Come on. You bring an ice cream and pound cake, and you always say we can have some, but we just got to drive to North Carolina. I don't know. What are y'all doing down there? Blueberry pound cake will do that. Pests are not a problem here, Country Homestead Preacher. Yeah, no real pest problems this year. I've been working on my soil health and plant health up for a number of years now, and I think we're finally getting there. I have seen a few Colorado potato bugs hanging around the tomato plants. I've seen a few of them chewing on them, but no heavy pressures, which I'm surprised because last year I had a massive infestation of them, and I opted to lose potatoes rather than put down toxic pesticides to stop them. Yeah, I don't bounce as well as I used to either, Geeky Gardens. The transporters are broken. You mean you can't beam up a pound cake? Any tips for stink bugs? Oh boy. Boy, you really got to get to the 4th level of plant health on the plant health pyramid to beat stink bugs with plant immunity. They're one of the more complex digestive systems as far as they go. If you're in a small space, you could just pick them off and throw them into warm soapy water. If that doesn't work for you, I'm not a huge fan of even organic pesticides, but you might try something like Captain Jack's Dead Bug. That's an organically certified one from isolated bacterium from a rum distillery in Jamaica. Yeah, they are hard to kill. They're super mobile. They fly pretty well. They have a pretty complex digestive system. They're pretty tough to beat. Yeah, picking them off is a real pain in the butt. But it works. And it's non-toxic. But like I said, if you can't do that, you could try something like Captain Jack's Dead Bug. And that's spinosad. It's a bacterium. Well, it's a toxin isolated from a bacterium. It's not actually the bacterium, I don't believe. Yeah, Robin, are you healing up? I hope you didn't break anything at least. Biffin. Biffin can't be organic though, can it? You guys into toxic chemicals. Get the strongest chemical you can get. The problem with these pesticides and herbicides and fungicides is they don't target just what you want to kill. They kill everything, and they have those same effects across the board, plants, animals, and humans. They become systemic in the plant. You end up eating that pesticide in your food. Warm dishwater would, like if you pick them off and put them in there, that'll slow them down. I don't know if that'll kill them. I did pick off a ton of Colorado potato bugs into warm, very soapy water last year, and I left them in there just to see how long it would take them to die, and 2 days later when I checked, they were still swimming around in there. So I was very surprised by that. I would have thought they would have drowned. I mean, if you put me in super soapy water for 2 days, I don't think I'd be in good shape. But they were still swimming around in a lot of pain. The way I understand, the spinosad does not affect the bees. If you did an application in the evening, you should double check it again. But I think it only has like a 4 or 6 hour half-life. I think it's 0 days to harvest usage. So if you put it on in the evening when the bees aren't flying, by morning, any toxicity should be gone as far as bees. So that way you won't hurt your bees. I was always aware of that, but now that I have my own honeybees, I'm way more keenly aware of what I'm putting on. I actually put a little pyrethrin on some stuff in the greenhouse this spring, trying to knock out the whitefly infestation. That didn't work. But when I did it, I made sure I did it at night, and I kept the greenhouse closed for 12 hours, which is the time that it's supposed to take for that to, lose its toxicity to bees and that kind of thing. So, one sec. Hello? Yes?
You all set?
Yeah, live streaming.
Huh?
I'm on live stream.
Oh,
What's going on?
I'll see you later. I just want to make sure you.
Okay. All right. Preacher, we fought them organically before. Nothing works. Yeah. Did you try the spinosad HTHW out of curiosity? Yeah, sometimes picking them off is the best solution. I tried feeding the Colorado potato bugs and their larvae to the chickens, and they wouldn't eat them. I was very disappointed by that, because I figured the chickens would clean them up, but they didn't. A black light for the tomato worms. To find them? Yeah, you'll find them easy with that. So Robin, you're in a lot of pain, but you didn't break anything. That's better than breaking something. I'm sorry you fell and hurt yourself. I'm really sorry to hear that. Wish I could make you feel better. You tried everything you ever heard of. Yeah. I know they're a huge problem with most farming operations. And of course, farms are running the most toxic stuff they can to try and knock them down. But the sad part is they're having a negative effect on their own soil and their health and the health of everyone who eats their food. A parasitic wasp. Ah, okay. Tell us more about that. I came across those when I was looking into beaten whiteflies, and I found I could actually order the parasitic wasps, but when I talked to Advancing Eco-Agriculture about it, they were saying that chances of the wasps beating the whiteflies before the wasps expired wasn't very good. And again, they pointed me back to, get your photosynthesis up, the whiteflies will go away. And a lot of my starts this spring had whiteflies on them, and since they went in the garden and the sunlight levels are up and the growth is up and they've had good foliar feeds and good temperatures and those plants are in good health, there are no whiteflies anymore. They're gone. So that does work, which is excellent. USDA is starting an eradication program. Uh-oh. Here we go. Drop nuclear bombs on everything. That'll kill the bugs. Well, yeah, but it'll kill everything else, too. Do you know what a refuge is? Well, I know what a refuge is. I guess, can you elaborate on what you're referring to specifically? Looks like white eggs on the hornworms. And I've been seeing a few flying wasps. I don't know the correct term. White eggs on the hornworms is Yeah, that's a parasitic something that actually eats the worm. So you would think that that is eggs of the worm, but it's not. It's something that actually eats the worm. So that's an interesting thing. If I remember correctly, I might have to go look at that again, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Some of your peppers have white flies. Those are more shaded, right? Lower photosynthetic rates, so lower plant secondary metabolites production, which is the plant's essential oils and defenses. See, this is why I say you pick up something like Photomag from AEA. You can get like a gallon for like $30. Yes, shipping's probably another 20 or something like that. But say for $50 you get a gallon of Photomag. When you have a problem like whiteflies or something like that, you can do foliar feeds and improve the health of the plant, get better yield and productivity and growth, build better soil, and eradicate the bug and pest problem all in one. It's a plot or crop that is not GMO or sprayed so the bugs don't get resistant. You mean like a trap crop, homesteading the hard way? Trap cropping works. I know one of the methods they use, like for orchards, is they'll not foliar feed one or two trees in the end of a row. Like they'll cut off the feed before they get to the end of the row. They'll let that tree, all the bugs will congregate to that tree, and then they'll put the chicken tract underneath there. So all the bugs congregate to that tree, they drop down, they go to produce, and the chickens eat the bugs, and boom, problem solved. So I know that works. Oh, so you're basically just, well, yeah, so that's a trap crop, basically. You're giving them somewhere else to go and eat that's easier. Yeah, the larvae hatch, they eat the hornworms. Parasitic wasps are beneficial. Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, and that's part of why it's nice to integrate like some permaculture rows into your annual rows. That's a place for those parasitic wasps and other beneficial insects to have shelter and a place to hide and a place to reproduce from, and it keeps it integrated into your stuff. I'm going to try and do more of that out here on my plots. It's always hard to dedicate space like that to that, but it really does pay off long term. Yeah, of course, our gardens are a refuge. Well, that's right, Chris. Yeah, and especially, you know, if you're not on trace mineral nutrition, you're not balancing your soil. You know, you have plants that are healthy enough to grow really well, but maybe they're not balanced well, and so when the bugs find those, they target right in on them. Do you know most insects can see primarily in the infrared spectrum, and they can spot a sick plant at up to 2,500 yards away? That's like a mile away. They can spot sick plants, and it's because they see in the infrared spectrum. Problem is, it's supposed to be my refuge, not the bugs. Yeah. And that's why you have to put the extra work in to make sure that those plants resist insects and disease. Remember, insects are nature's garbage collectors, and fungi are her cleanup crew. So if insects are attacking your plants, those plants aren't healthy. They're there to take unhealthy plants out of the system so the healthy plants can thrive. And I know that's counterintuitive. And I know it's hard as a gardener or farmer when you put all that effort and energy into growing a plant and you think those plants are healthy. It's hard to accept the fact that when they get attacked by insects that they're not as healthy as you thought they were. But you have to accept that and learn from it and learn how to beat it. And it's not an easy process, and I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, because it's not. But it's well worth learning. And when you get that plant health up, you'll notice the difference when you eat those plants as well. You'll notice a tremendous difference in energy and health and vitality. I mean, clarity, mental focus, endurance, physical endurance, the works, all of that really, really amps up when you get that stuff right. Lack of good sunlight. Geeky Gardens, you're in Florida. What are you talking about, lack of good sunlight? You must have a partially shaded spot, I assume. Anyway, I'm going to do a tour on my plants. Boy, I hope I can get out there with the camera tomorrow. I've been meaning to for like 4 or 5 days or more. And I just haven't, and then the sunlight fades on me. And I realize I've missed it. Excuse me, I've missed the opportunity again. 8 trees to hurricanes over the years, but still no spots to get more than 5 to 6 hours of sun. Oh wow, that's low, Geeky. That's low. I like to get at least 8 hours on my crops when I can. Most of your problems are imported fire ants, stink bugs, etc. Yeah, that's true. Yes, the grand solar minimum. In fact, we're just about there. In fact, believe it or not, that affects the amateur radio bands, not the VHF bands like this radio, but the HF bands tremendously. In fact, the 10-meter band is basically dead and has been for about 1.5 years, and it was fading even before that, and it'll be completely dead here at the grand solar minimum. And then every 11 years that cycles. So in about 11 years, or maybe it's half that. I can't remember if the full cycle is 11 years or if that's half the cycle. But basically, in another 5 or 6 years, that 10-meter band will come back and be really strong again. And you'll be able to talk around the planet on it in the daytime. And then it'll fade again at the grand solar minimum again. So yes, I'm familiar with that. Was there something more specific you were referring to on that? 3 big oak trees, okay. Well, some of that shade probably actually saves your plants a little bit down in Florida. I mean, that sun is super intense here this time of year. I can't imagine what it's like in Florida. What's your latitude, Geeky? We're 42 here. You must be, I would say, below 30 or about 30 maybe. Because I think the Mason-Dixon line is somewhere around the 38th parallel. And you're way south of that. I would think you're probably in the 30 or 25 range. I guess I could look on Google Earth quick. Florida, yeah, it's like 24. So yeah, so you're almost on the equator. Well, I mean almost, but you know, way south. So those probably provide you a little bit of protection actually. To get a nav chart, you've been out of the Navy too long if you need a chart. Why isn't it all up here, Geeky? Come on. I don't know if the grand solar minimum is going to impact food production. I'll tell you what I am concerned about impacting food production. Well, we already had one event this year, and that's all those floods out in the Midwest that wiped out. Somebody sent me an article back in the spring. It was like 80 or 85% of the corn crop that usually gets planted did not go in this year. And since a huge portion of our food supply is made from corn-based products, food prices are going to go through the roof. But the one that really concerns me is a mini ice age like they had back in the 1800s, because that would really wipe things out. Didn't have computers. What about the slider computers, Geeky? Yeah, those, didn't you? But yeah, mini ice age or a massive volcano, either of those could cause a winter literally through the summer of a couple of years, and that would be devastating. Because what are you going to do? I mean, even if you put it in the greenhouse, there's not enough light. That's a scary thing, for sure. Yeah, the mini ice age. Yeah, it was like mid 1800s, I think. A slipstick. There you go. Yeah, we'll adapt somehow, but I mean, things aren't easy as it is sometimes. Something like that would be very difficult to say the least. But, you know, you have all sorts of other ongoing issues as well between politics and climate change and all that sort of stuff. An ice age would spoil the plans you've been working on. You want to be further north. I hear you, Geeky. I hear you. Yeah, definitely worth looking into if you're not familiar with that. Somewhere there's an article. You probably could find a video on it on YouTube. But it was really, I mean, they had frost in, like, you know, places where you normally don't have frost, like in July and August. Like, it devastated the crops. I guess we'd be back to hunting for protein at that point. We have to be out shooting deer and turkey and all that sort of stuff. But it would not make things easy. Anyway, guys, I got to go do some food shopping before the store closes, and I got about 5,000 other chores I want to try and finish tonight. I probably won't get them all done, but I gotta jump out here. I appreciate everyone. Yeah, last few years have been different. This is actually the first quarter normal grow season we've had here. I don't even, you know, I visited Florida a couple times, homesteading the hard way, and I didn't even like visiting there. No, we never get them all done, Geeky. I try, but, you know. Glad you enjoyed Country Homestead Preacher. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for participating. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good evening as well. Robin, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you fell. I wish I could make you feel better. And I hope you heal up soon and can get back out in the garden and not fall and get injured again. Geeky Gardens, thank you for joining. Homesteading the Hard Way, thanks for joining. Hope I haven't missed anybody. There's somebody else in here. Maybe not. Anyway, thanks to everyone who participated, watched, and all. And I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you Friday night, Homesteading the Hard Way. I'll try and catch your live stream as usual. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network.